You know, I think the main objection is that actually, when you read the biblical text, it doesn't demand it in any kind of shape or form. I mean, it simply doesn't tell us that you need the earth to be very young, actually. So, and it seems to me disappointing, you know, therefore, to try and take the text in that kind of way. It seems to me to be abusing the biblical text, actually, to try and extract something out of it that isn't really there. And if you go back to the early church fathers, what you find is, and we're talking about, for example, Augustine at the beginning of the 5th century, in his great commentary on Genesis called The Literal Interpretation of Genesis. Now, you might expect, if you go to the literal interpretation of Genesis, here we find a commentary that was actually talking about a young earth. Not a bit of it. It has actually a very metaphorical, figurative understanding of the Genesis text. And so, you know, even those early commentators who didn't have access to any of the dating of the earth that we have now recognize that the Genesis text is not about the age of the earth. It's about something quite different. But of course, the other reason why I think the young earth creationist position is really disappointing is that the science is simply overwhelming that the earth is very, very old. And basically, we've known it's very old since 1800, and even before people began to realize, you know, it's much older than 10,000 years. And certainly by the middle of the 19th century, I mean, there was nobody in any doubt, and including Christians and people who are evangelicals, Bible-believing Christians of the mid-19th century, people like Adam Sedgwick, who was here in Cambridge, who was professor of geology, and who is a great believer, who was an Anglican vicar, and who helped to establish the geological column and the age of the earth and so forth. I mean, people like that, they knew the earth was very old. They knew that that was not incompatible with their Christian belief. So the whole idea of the earth being very young is kind of a recent 20th century idea. It was never there, really, amongst the academic Christians, certainly, of the 19th century.